because you're co-host.
We're good.
Perfect. Thanks, Sam.
All
okay,
right.
so we'll get started. It's a minute after noon, but we're going to go ahead and not waste anybody's time. So we're all ready to go. This is the Teach Talk webinar where we're going to have our guest, Sam, talk about maximize teaching effectiveness with videos. So this will be appropriate for you whether you're teaching online or whether you're teaching face-to-face. Although we know right now that those of you teaching face-to-face are actually teaching remotely too. So I think no matter how your delivery system is, you're going to find some effective tips here that will help you out. Just so you understand the structure, we always have everybody introduce themselves in the chat room. That way Sam and Kenna can kind of target their remarks towards your different areas and help make this as effective as possible. So please introduce yourself in the chat room. And also, we like these sessions to be really interactive. So feel free to jump in either by chat or raising your hand and ask questions. I know our speakers are always willing to take questions. They may put it off for a minute until they finish a thought, but then they'll get in there. And whoever isn't talking is usually monitoring the chat room. So your questions will be answered. And I want to welcome you to the Teach Talk webs. They are the third Tuesday of every month from 12 to 1. We have different instructional professionals come in and do a topic. Usually it's something that they're passionate about or that is very current based on needs of faculty at the moment. So again, we love to have you attend these if you can. If you can't, we do always record them and we put them on the TeachTech blog, which the link is right there on your screen. We'll also include it in the chat room, easy for you. And with that, I think what I'm going to do is introduce myself, and then I'll let Sam take over. I'm the Assistant Director of Faculty Support for the School of Life Sciences. My name is Amy Pate, and I've been hosting these webinars for about 5 or 6 years now. We've been doing them along Ed Plus and engineering and instruction designers, presentations from shippers. We've had presentations from the Teachers College. So it's a collaborative effort and a lot of fun. We love doing them again once a month. So with that, I'll let Sam take over. Sam, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Sam Mikra. I am the Instructional Design Specialist at the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences in the Dean's Office.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kenna Ray, Manager of Instructional Design in the College Dean's Office. And as you can see, my hairstyle and color has changed multiple times since I took this selfie that you see. And I'm going to stop sharing my video because sometimes I have bandwidth issues. But here's my ventriloquist picture. All right, so we are ready to get started. See if I can advance the screen. All right, so here are the topics we are covering today. I don't know what just happened. Oh no. Okay. I don't know. We're trying to share controls and something funky is happening.
Kenna, it says you're sharing it. How are you doing there? Do you moving the slides? I'm not moving them, so you must be.
All right, we're back to where we need to be. Okay, so our topics are: why should we use videos? What makes videos effective? And how should we record and share videos? So we're gonna kick off the chat, and you can chat or you can unmute to share if you'd like. What are some wins or challenges you have experienced with creating videos? And for some reason it just advanced and I'm not sure why. So weird. So I will let you all think about that and maybe add some notes into the chat, and we'll keep going.
Can I wonder if it's something when I hit mute for myself, it just advances it for you?
Oh, I bet.
Because I think that's happened both times. So let's do this.
Okay, that might be it. We're still learning. Okay. Trying to advance. Okay. It just jumped ahead. I think what also might be happening is there's a delay. So when I click next, nothing happens. So I click again. Oh, this is, and now I don't see the ability to go back. Okay, here we go. I'm sorry. Thank you for bearing with us, everyone.
And if it happens again, Kenna, I'm happy to just share my slides for while you're presenting, and then I'll just control all of it, and you can just give me the next and all that, just in case.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so here we are. Videos create connections. Humans are social creatures and they need human connection. Additionally, students are complex creatures and they need multiple ways to connect course concepts to real life. As most of us have probably learned by now, though, not all instructor-made videos are effective at creating these connections. So hopefully we can provide some ideas and best practices you can try out. So videos maximize instructor presence, student engagement, ubiquity, equity, and inclusion. Students need to know that a real life human is on the other side of the shroud of technology, which sometimes Canvas feels like. Whether we are quite literally isolated right now due to COVID-19, or we want to find better ways to connect with students outside of the traditional classroom, videos are a great way to do that. Because of the dynamic nature of videos versus static content like readings, videos tend to capture and maintain student attention. Research shows that students engage more with the course content as a result of their instructor's presence in course videos. So that might be their voice, their image, or maybe even a talking head, kind of like we're doing right now. Instructors, of course, must make sure their presence allows for appropriate social cues, which are essential to enhancing learning outcomes while minimizing distracting behaviors and peripheral noise. Videos offer ubiquitous learning. That's the opportunity to learn anywhere at any time. A video is available at all hours from anywhere with an internet connection, and it allows learners to learn at their own pace, even to review material repeatedly if necessary. One of the greatest success stories I've heard is from Dr. Stuart Lindsay, a physics professor here in the college. He found that learning outcomes for his face-to-face physics students improved dramatically after putting his lecture videos into Canvas, especially among non-native English-speaking students, because they were able to watch and re-watch his explanation of complex concepts repeatedly. So what makes videos effective? Waiting for the little advance button to show. Here it is. Oh my goodness. Okay, here we are. All right, so effective instructor-made videos are aligned with learning goals and objectives. They should teach students what they need to know so that they can successfully complete assignments. Accessible, all videos should be captioned. Media Amp and YouTube provide captioning that Sam will show us later, as does Google Slides. You should also verbalize graphs, equations, figures, etc., so that students with low vision can follow along. Effective videos are also relevant. Your video should help students connect course concepts to the world they live in. Video should showcase the passion you feel for your unique areas of expertise. It should be content that learners cannot get from any textbook or any other instructor. Videos should also be short and focused. Effective videos get straight to the point. They are under 10 minutes each. Anything longer should clearly delineate short segments that are organized by topic. What types of videos are effective? So when you start to think about the types of video content you'd like to present, it might help you to consider these two types of videos, informal and formal. Both are totally acceptable to use in your classes. In fact, students tell us that they like a mix of both styles. Informal videos tend to serve an immediate need, a single purpose, and may never be used again. You can create them very quickly without much planning or preparation. They're impromptu or off the cuff, and you can record them from just about anywhere. Formal videos, on the other hand, serve a longer term purpose. They may be reused multiple times across multiple terms or semesters because the content really doesn't change. Formal videos require more planning. You'd want to prepare some slides, set up a demonstration, or invite a colleague to interview. You may even prepare a script. For more formal videos, you probably want to put some thought into your physical setup as well. So get ready to chat, everybody. Here is a question. So how might you use formal or informal videos? Maybe give us some examples of ways that you've seen or videos that you would like to maybe create for your courses.
Okay, I can jump in here.
Great.
My name's Dallas. I teach for materials, as I said in the chat, a 200 level class. So for years, I've wanted to flip my classroom. I turn on my video if there's not a problem. For years, I've wanted to flip my classroom so I can spend more time discussing with the students, and this situation has kind of forced me into that. When we first changed over in March, I did the normal Zoom lecture where I was doing basically just the same thing that I would be doing in front of the classroom, writing on a electronic whiteboard and talking to the students through the videos or through the webcam. But lately, in the past week or 2 weeks, I've created videos before class and asked them to watch it so that I could spend time in class answering questions and doing example problems. One of the things I've found is that I don't get a lot of feedback and I don't get a lot of participation. I have 30 students in my class and roughly half of them watch the video before attending the class. I've tried both the formal and the informal. And with the formal, where I write out a script, I prepare everything beforehand, I can make really tight, compact videos that just present the information. So they're short and focused, but the students didn't receive those too well because I've done that format, and then I tried the informal setting where I just open up a Zoom meeting with just myself and record what would basically be a lecture of me talking at them, and I ramble and I move back and forth between topics, and I've gotten better response from the informal videos versus the formal videos. The advantage for me is that it takes me hours to make a few minutes worth of video in the formal setting, whereas the informal, I just fire up Zoom and record it and it's done, whatever whatever turns out is
Mhm.
what it is. But I've gotten better response from those.
I love that you said that. So you're using them in the flipped classroom model in which students hopefully prepare for a discussion with their instructor ahead of time, and you got mixed reviews. And that's exactly why I wanted to talk about the formal versus informal. And as Candace said, they do take a lot of time to make, especially if you're a perfectionist. I absolutely agree. So maybe try, if you haven't, what Dallas recommended, and just kind of doing an impromptu one. And students do like to see that you are human, like warts and all, flaws and all. And that's totally okay. It's okay if you fumble or don't say everything correctly, or even if you forget to talk about certain things. They just feel more real and more interactive, even if it is a little bit one-sided.
On that point, I actually inadvertently did that in a lecture last week, in a live lecture. I was going through and showing them an example problem. And without meaning to, I made a common mistake that students make. And I worked through the problem, and I got to the end. And then I recognized that I had done something wrong and had to go backwards and figure out where my mistake was and go through it. So I gave them, without meaning to, I gave them an example of one of the pitfalls or one of the things that they can possibly do incorrectly in the problem. I don't know if it was received well. Again, one of the things I'm having trouble with here is feedback. When you're standing in front of a classroom, you get some visual feedback. You can even make them uncomfortable and force them to talk to you. In this setting, it's very hard to get them to interact with me.
It is. And I definitely agree that that can be a challenge. Thank you so much for jumping in yourself during this little discussion break. I really appreciate that. And hopefully you always have a participant or two that's willing to take that leap into conversation. But that is a challenge. You can't see their instant feedback.
Mhm.
Does anybody else have any thoughts on this before we get before we proceed?
So something that I've used to help with the feedback is integrating like Mentimeter and Kahoot, creating those assessments, checks for understanding before my classes. I've been tending since post-spring break to create synchronous, right, classes, and then recording those Canvas sessions, much like how you're recording right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I also record after class and before class PowerPoints that maybe I think are really important for them to access. And then I also like to throw out some of those quizzes specific to those PowerPoints with key information that I really want them to hold on to. And again, those Mentimeters are pretty quick and easy to create. The Kahoots are easy as well. And the students seem to really enjoy having that during our synchronous time. Obviously, it would be a little harder to assess who's responding how using those two tools in an asynchronous setting.
Thank you, Andrea. Can you type those out in the chat so that others can look them up? And have you been using free versions of those?
I have. Last year I was full-time for 9 years, and so I used my tech money to purchase the premium accounts with Mentimeter particularly. So what I have now are the free versions, which aren't as fancy, obviously, but they still get the job done. And most of these tools are new to my students, so they get really excited when they see something like that. And I give them a heads up the week before and send them out links in the announcements to please check out the tools we're going to tinker with, and then I kind of do a quick run-through demonstration with them so they can see what it's about, and then we engage in using those assessments for assessments as learning.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. And another thing too that's a super low tech kind of old school trick, if you want to make sure students are getting the information they need, is to just give them a worksheet that they can fill out as you're talking or as they're watching the videos too. Oh, there go my dogs. Perfect timing, Sam. Do you want to take it from here?
Sure, yeah. Let me go ahead and take control of the screen here, and then we can go ahead and resume.
So these are just, oh, it
Oop.
skipped ahead. That was me, I think, muting myself. So if we go back a couple slides, these are just some examples of, some more examples of informal and formal videos.
Sam, I'm trying to give you approval, but when I do, it just clicks the screen. Let's do this.
No worries. If I might just share my screen, and
think you
then
can
go
go ahead
from
and do that.
there. Yeah, just a sec. All right. Beep boop. Just a second, y'all. All right. You should be able to see my uses for informal videos.
Perfect, yep.
Great. So, and is that where we are? Yeah. So uses for informal videos. So here we go. Yeah, so the uses for informal videos. So when we're talking about informal videos, you know, these are things that will change from time to time. It's not the videos that are going to remain static throughout your course, right? So first, what we're thinking right now with the situation going on, we're looking at our Zoom recordings, right? A lot of you, if not most of you, are using Zoom recordings right now for your lectures. So when you upload those into Canvas, that would be one of those things where it's more of an informal video. Impromptu explanations, maybe you're seeing in your discussion boards that a specific student or specific students are having the same sort of issue with material in your course. So you might want to hop onto your video and kind of explain what's going on there via an impromptu explanation. Ties into a quick demonstration as well. Maybe there's a certain issue in this week's module that your students are having, so you want to give them a little bit more guided advice and explanation. So you hop on a quick video for a demonstration. Announcements as well. You know, some instructors really like to personalize their courses from semester to semester and do a welcome to week 2, welcome to week 3 video where they just kind of briefly touch on what the students are going to be doing for that week and maybe put in an announcement here and there, like maybe the students just took an exam the week before, or just something that's very particular to that particular course site, and of course a shout out to your students. So when we're looking at formal videos, we definitely want to do something like a traditional lecture, right? So if it's something that's static, that's not going to change semester to semester throughout the time of the course for a couple of years, traditional lectures are going to be are what you're going to want to record as a formal video. Storytelling is something you'd want to do a formal video with as well as lab demonstrations and field trips. And a big one too is expert interviews. You know, when you are interviewing an expert in your field for your course, a formal video would probably be the best way to go, just to make sure you have that formalization and your students are able to see that video there. And of course, debates as well. Those will be formal videos. Can anyone think of any other formal uses of formal versus informal videos off the top of your heads? I think some intro videos by the instructor for the course overall, the very beginning of the course, module 0, week 0. A lot of instructors like to have a static video there for a course introduction. And as problem sets too. Maybe there are problem sets videos in like a math course or an engineering course that also remain the same throughout semesters, and you want to go ahead and do those with a formal video since they won't change often.
Sam, I was just going to interject that I use informal videos to do a wrap up on a week, and just kind of, I actually call out student names who did really good jobs or had great discussions, and because I know I'm only going to use them for that week. So I make them that way.
Very nice. Yeah, that too. All right, so now that we've gone over that, what do we do with the actual videos? Like, how do we record these videos, and how do we share these videos with our students? So what equipment will I need? Any device with a camera will work. So yes, that includes your phone. If you want to use your phone, maybe something bigger like a tablet, a laptop, or a desktop machine, those are all okay. For best audio features, we recommend using your earpods or your headphones. That will really, most, if not all, headphones these days come with a built-in microphone. So that will really help out with the audio quality of your recording. And if you're using a handheld device, maybe you want to use a tripod or something that'll steadily hold your handheld device. That way, if you're on an iPhone, you want to set the phone down and speak right in front of the phone, especially if doing a formal video, as opposed to holding it selfie style. That would be more so kind of like for informal if you wanted to do that. So long story short, basically any device with a camera will go ahead and allow you to record whatever content you need to get to your students. So once we have those materials, once we have our phones or our tablets and that tripod, what video making tools are available for us at ASU? First one that's pretty widely popular that I usually recommend for everyone is Screencast-O-Matic. If you haven't heard of Screencast-O-Matic, that's a desktop screen recorder and video editor. It's available for free through their website. However, it's not a fully enterprise license Screencast-O-Matic version that you'd be getting. It's going to have limited features because it's just the free version of it. Fortunately, ASU does have a full enterprise version that allows for more advanced features. You can do things with the full enterprise version, like zooming in with your cursor. Maybe you want to define a portion of your screen to only record that instance, similar with Zoom, how you can choose what windows you want to share. If you don't want to share your entire screen, you can do that with Screencast-O-Matic as well. And Screencast-O-Matic also has really nice editing capabilities that allow you to annotate your video before you upload it to a platform, which we'll briefly touch on in a couple of slides here. And if you want to download Screencast-O-Matic, that's pretty simple as well. All you got to do is you'll go to asu.edu/SOM, so Screencast-O-Matic, SOM, and we'll be sure to share these links after our presentation. And that'll give you access to the full enterprise version. Once you download it, you'll get like a text file that will show you exactly how to unlock the full enterprise version of Screencast-O-Matic. If you want to use something else, Snagit also exists. I like to use Snagit a lot because I take a lot of screenshots, and that's kind of one of the big bonuses of Snagit. So Snagit does allow you to do video recording, but it is really good for taking screenshots of materials that are on your desktop the way you would with Screencast-O-Matic. When you take screenshots, Snagit actually allows you to annotate them with professional markup tools. That's going to direct the audience looking at your screenshot to the exact area you need them to focus their attention to. Another thing that's really cool about it is that you can do a rolling screenshot. So if you want to take a screenshot of your entire window, but you have to scroll down a little bit to get to like the last few parts of what you're looking to screenshot, Snagit will let you do a scrolling screenshot. Video recording capability, it's really quick in Snagit. Basically, it's just a couple of clicks. Once you've selected the portion of the desktop, of your screen, I should say, that you want to record, you begin with just a few simple clicks and you do your editing afterwards. With Snagit, UTO entered a 3-year agreement to make it available for all ASU-owned systems used by faculty and staff. So if you want to request a copy, if you want to try it out, you can just submit a ticket to UTO via the service tab in your My ASU, and they can get that set up for you pretty quickly. So once you've figured out which video recorder you want to use, how do you set up your home studio? What are you going to do with your home studio to make sure you get those videos looking really great? So we have a couple of tips here for you. What you'll want to do is you'll want to align your camera around 24 inches in front of your face. Make sure that the lighting is arranged well. So you're going to want the lighting besides you or in front of you. Use your headphones, as we talked about earlier. You're going to want to use your headphones or a external mic just for really good audio quality. Use simple slides as well. And of course, you're going to want to minimize all of those distractions, right? You're going to want to make sure that you don't get little bits of audio here and there that you might have to edit out later. So you'll want to minimize all of the distractions in order to make sure you have that seamless quality of audio in your recording. So here's some more graphics. As we said, you're gonna wanna stand within 24 inches of the camera or microphone. And a big one that I always forget about, especially when doing phone calls via Zoom, is avoid backlighting. So you wanna face the light source as opposed to having it behind you, or otherwise you'll just have that big halo of light behind you when sharing your video being Zoom. And also if you're close to the camera, that'll help as well. When you have the backlighting issues. So that being said, let's open up the chat. Go ahead and unmute yourselves if you'd like. What are some of the challenges you could see yourselves facing while doing home recordings?
I think it's bandwidth and dogs.
Right, which is pretty much a common issue that we all experience, right? When we're on these Zoom calls, if it's not a dog or a pet, it's going to be the bandwidth, for sure.
For kids.
Yeah.
I have a, sorry,
Go ahead.
I just
No,
had a question. I'm wondering if anyone had any experience with the Zoom recordings. Is there a difference in the quality of the recording if you record to the cloud versus to the local computer?
Not that I know of. It's always with the cloud. The reason it takes a while to get is because of the processing, because it's going to process at that high frame rate that it's set to record on. I haven't looked, and maybe Amy and Kenna, if you know, feel free to jump in, but I haven't looked if you could say like, oh, record it in standard definition as opposed to like HD or 480p or, you know, whatever the things are. But as far as I know, the definition, there's no difference in definition when recording. It's just the cloud one might take longer because it has to process first.
Okay, because I was trying to just test things out and record to the cloud, and the video that resulted from that was really blurry.
Okay.
And I wasn't sure, my internet at home is not that great, and I wasn't sure if that had anything to do with it.
Okay, well, I can definitely investigate. Was this Candace or was that Andrea? Sorry,
Yeah.
I don't have.
Yeah.
Cool.
This is Candace.
Hi, yeah. So I can definitely look that up for you and do like an investigation after this and follow up with you, because I haven't heard, but it could very well be possibly tied to your home connection. I just can't confirm that without looking a little further into it.
Okay, thank you. I just wasn't sure if anyone else had experienced this or not.
Sure. Amy in the chat mentioned an app for background noise called Crisp.
Hi, Sam. Yeah, I started using CRISP when we went to this remote learning idea because I didn't have kids, but I had a cat that would interrupt every meeting. And it works really well. I was kind of amazed. Like I did some tests where I even had a radio playing in the background kind of loud. And the people listening to me, it faded out. So I think it takes a little getting used to. Like I had to set my microphones a little bit, but I found it to be really helpful.
That's cool. I've actually never heard of it. So like, do you have to have it like on the same machine that you're having your meeting on, or?
Yes, so it actually connects with your microphone, whatever your default microphone is. So you set it up to work with your default microphone, and then supposedly, now I haven't tried it with everything, I've only tried it with Zoom, but then it supposedly cancels out. Oh no, I've tried it with Zoom, oh, and Slack, but Slack is connected to Zoom. So those are the two things that I've used for meetings where, and you do have to select that default microphone. So it takes a little finessing, but I have been pretty happy with it. So.
Very nice. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else? Maybe some other challenges you could face while doing home recordings? I think distractions and like you know, like pets and family members and stuff. I think that might be the big one. Just making sure that we don't get interrupted or anything like that. And then bandwidth issues, of course, that would be a big one as well. Just making sure that like once the video is recorded, the quality of the video is great based off of, you know, your bandwidth issue at home or whatnot. So those are definitely the biggest challenges for sure that I could think of as well. So if no one else has any challenges, and please, if you have more, feel free to interrupt. How do we share our videos with students? So when it comes to sharing our videos with students, it's very important to know that you cannot, well, you should not, you actually can, but you should not upload your videos directly into Canvas. The reason for that is because the LMS team at ASU, they have a we have a limit. Every course size in Canvas is 2 gigabytes. So normally a 30-minute lecture, you're looking at 200 to 400 megabytes of video, depending on the quality of that video. So as you can tell, it probably can sum up pretty quickly. It can add up to 2 gigabytes within maybe 10 recorded video lectures. So you don't want to put those immediately into Canvas, but what you'll want to do is put them into Media Amp or YouTube. I get asked a lot, we get asked a lot, like what the difference is between Media Amp or YouTube, or which one might be better. And it really depends on what you're looking to do. So if you just want a place to upload the video so you can grab the embed code that's mentioned in the second bullet point there. So if you're looking to just have the video hosted somewhere so you can grab that embed code, you know, Media Amp would probably be your best bet. However, we do strongly encourage and recommend you do some captioning as well to your video, especially for those students who are hard of hearing. I personally found it easier to do captioning in the YouTube environment, but again, that is up to you. So you can do it in both. You can upload your videos to Media Amp or YouTube, caption them there as well, and then find the code that you can embed the video into Canvas and put the video into Canvas that way, so it doesn't go into your 2 gigabyte allotment, if you will, for your Canvas site. So Amy, that does it for the slides that we have. Is there anything else y'all want to add in?
Does anyone have questions about Media Amp or YouTube or embedding or captions or any
Yeah, I didn't
stuff?
go ahead.
That's it.
So I have a question about captioning. Because Zoom basically does that for you, it creates a file, and from what I've seen, does pretty good at transcribing your voice. Is there a simple way of taking that file and making it a caption file for, let's say, Media Amp specifically, or is that an involved process that you would have to do by hand somehow?
It isn't too involved. It does require some manual intervention from the instructor's part, or whoever has that caption file that comes from Zoom. All you would do with it is both platforms, both Media Amp and YouTube, they give you the ability to upload your own caption file. So if you have the Zoom file, you could always upload that one into either Media Amp or YouTube into the section that says captioning in those platforms. You can upload the file there, and then you can just do whatever minor edits you need to do that Zoom didn't pick up properly. And then when you publish the captions, those are the automatic captions that the students get when they turn on that button for closed captioning.
So when you say minor editing, you're talking about going in and making corrections. I have not looked at the actual text file that Zoom generates, but if it's similar to what happens in the group chat, I assume that it puts some kind of identifier on each person speaking. Like, for example, when I'm lecturing, I would assume it has my name in front of each passage that it transcribes. If a student speaks up in lecture, I would assume it puts their name there. Are if those names are in there in that file, are they compatible with Media Amp, or do I have to go in and take those names out?
So I haven't looked at the Zoom caption files yet, but if it's like an SRT or a TXT extension file, I'm guessing, I'm gonna assume that when it puts your name next to what you've said, it does that just because Zoom knows who said what based on logging into the meeting and whatnot. But when you upload it into Media or YouTube, if it's that SRT file extension type or the text type and the text says your name, that's good to go. It just means that that's the file, that's the text that Zoom automatically created for you with its artificial intelligence to create those captions for you. So it won't affect you putting it into Medium or YouTube, because the text is already written for you. You're just like going back and cleaning it up and like cleaning up what, you know, the AI and Zoom misheard you saying or your students saying.
Okay. So I'm just looking at it now. It's what's available from Zoom as a transcript is a VTT file. I'm not familiar with that.
I'm gonna see if, yeah, we need to see if, as long as YouTube supports that VTT file, which I'm looking really quickly to see if they do. There we go. Yeah, so it looks like it does support VTT file. It's
Okay.
just it just limits your styling of it, meaning like being able to make it bold or italicize it or underline it. But other than that, yeah, YouTube will support that file type. So again, you would just
Okay.
upload it into that section, and if the file type has all the names there based on who spoke when, YouTube will still pick that up because it's in the file itself. It's not tied entirely to the Zoom recording the whole time, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
That's a great question. That was a great question.
Yeah, it was a good question, and I didn't even know Zoom could do that, so thank you. But is there an advantage to uploading that VTT, I think you said, file to YouTube versus using YouTube's auto captioning?
Well, I believe Dallas mentioned that like when he saw the Zoom caption file, it was pretty accurate for the most part. So in that case, it might just be easier to upload that file into YouTube and then clean up whatever little bits and pieces need to be cleaned up, because we never know if the YouTube file might be a little more work will be involved on the YouTube file cleanup as opposed to the VTT that Zoom provided.
Okay, so maybe just accuracy. Okay, that's
Correct. Yeah. Any other questions on the uploading or the captioning process?
Kenna and Sam, I was just going to say it'd be really great if when you share the resources at the end and in our blog, maybe we could record a short video on how to do that or some information about the captioning.
Yeah,
That would be great.
Yeah, I would be happy to do that. I wanted to do it for this, but I wasn't sure how we'd be on time. And then I kind of have shown this to a lot of people over time, the captioning and all that. So I'm sure I already have some resource that have been created. So I'll hop on and look when we send out all of our information after this webinar.
Great, and I do have a video that Julie Allen has made about making videos accessible, and I'll be sure to send that along as well.
Cool. So if barring any other questions, let's just open up the chat further and do some Q&A. What's one of the cool things that you learned in this Teach Talk?
So I think the captioning is the most interesting new thing that I've learned. The other stuff I've played around with a fair amount, but I haven't done a lot with the captioning. So if I could get that added to my toolbox, that would be great.
And
Great.
there's something that I wanted to demo, but again, I didn't know if we had enough time. Is the Google Slides live captioning. If you're using Chrome and you're sharing a Google slide, you should be able to turn the live captioning on. And of course, it's not very accurate. It just tries to pick up what we say. And there's a slight delay. But I think that it's a really good thing to use if you're doing a Zoom live meeting with students, you know, so that it's a little bit more accessible, because we can't Hopefully the DRC would provide a live captioner or somebody who does ASL if we have a student who is deaf. But all, you know, non-native English speakers a lot of times, or people with ADD like me, like to see captions as they're watching something.
So this is a really good idea. I'm wondering if we could use this in the classroom, like instead of lecturing from PowerPoint, if we lectured from a Google slide in Chrome, would it project the captions onto the screen in the classroom?
Yep, it sure does.
Okay, so what would we need for that to work? We'd need to have a microphone attached to the computer or something?
Yeah, you would need to have some sort of sound. And if you know, students were participating in the discussion, it might be a little tricky to get those recorded, I would think. Amy probably has more experience with sound in the actual classroom, I would guess.
We have used it, excuse me, in our larger class lectures. So it does work. It does not pick up student discussions. So if you're trying to record it for future uses, you might have to repeat the question the student said, or repeat the answers if another student answered it. So it's not great for that kind of course or that kind of recording, but it is really good for people who are presenting out, to give students who are maybe not quite as good at hearing things and something to read. And I do think that's really important, because I read a study recently that a lot of our students coming into college at the moment do have some loss of hearing. So that seems to be kind of a normal trend for people nowadays, as we're listening more and more to earbuds and music and things online. So just keep that in mind. But I think if you have a microphone connected to your main computer where you're giving your slides and lecture, it works fine. It's not perfect, but it works fine.
So just
Great.
like a built-in computer mic, you think is fine?
It does, yeah. We've had the faculty that wear their lavaliers. As long as the computer that they're using to project their slides, that's where the mic has to be connected to. So I think there were some issues, if I remember, people bringing their laptops to show their slides. So in other words, you have to be within that sound system,
okay,
for showing your slides.
Great.
And is it any time you have the slides in presenter mode, or do you have to be recording it?
No, it's presenter mode.
It's
okay, cool.
mode. Yeah.
So, yeah, you can record your screen, like if you were wanting to record something, but it's really about presenters.
And I've seen it being used with Zoom, and it works great.
So Sam, do you want to go on to the next slide and we'll wrap this up?
Sure. Yeah. So resources used in this Teach talk, we use the Assessing the Impact of Educational Video on Student Engagement, Thinking, and Learning. We had the 5 great uses of video in online courses, and some resources from ASU as well. The Online Studio by Ed Plus, that's where we got the Sparky video infographics. And then we have more video resources on our own page. Kenna and I created the Instruction Junction website for the college, so you can get a bunch of teaching resources there. And then also when Amy, I don't know, do you send these slides out or?
So what we do is within 48 hours or so, we post it on our blog. Those blogs come out every Thursday. So Thursday morning, we'll send out a new blog that'll have kind of a summary of this session. It'll have links to your slides, it'll have links to your resources, and it'll have the recording that we did.
Okay, so yeah, so in that case, we'll be sure, Dallas and Candace, to also include the captioning materials in there as well. So if I don't follow up with you with it, it will for sure be in that blog post that Amy mentioned. But I'll definitely do my best to follow up with y'all via email on it, so you'll get it as soon as you can, okay?
Okay, and where do we find the blog?
I'll type in the email address, I'll type in the URL right now.
Thanks.
Yep. And you can actually subscribe to our blog so that every Thursday you'll get a post with new information that we've shared either in a webinar or one of our instructional professionals have put together. It's somewhat targeted towards life sciences because that's the college that we're in or the school that we're in, but it's really pretty much useful for anybody.
Great, thank you, Amy. So do you want me to do this part, Amy, or?
Oh, it doesn't matter. Sorry, I was typing. I couldn't
No, you're okay.
type. But I'm happy to invite everybody to our next Teach Talk webinar. It's on May 19th, same time, same link. And this time we're going to have a discussion on backwards design. If you don't know what that is, it's a great way to start developing a new course where you start looking at what it is you want students to be able to do when they leave your class in order to design the objectives and activities and assessments within your class. So please join us for that hour. And I think the next slide actually does give the link. Yeah, and that's also the link to the TeachT blog, where again, we have a number of articles and we'll have this information posted on Thursday. And I think that's it.
Yeah, so thank you everyone for joining today.
Yeah, and please reach out to any of us directly if you have any questions regarding our topic today.
And Ken and Sam, I just want to thank you on behalf of Teach Talk. This was a really great webinar. Lots of good information. So we appreciate you taking time to do this.
Thanks for having us, Amy.
Thank you. We had a good time. So
Yes, thank you, everyone.
All right, I'm going to stop the recording.